Discover the touching moment Billionaire CEO's life changed forever when a single mom approached. Jack Thompson stood high above the bustling streets of Chicago, a titan of industry cloaked in the shimmering glass walls of his penthouse office. Golden rays of sunlight danced around him, illuminating the accolades and luxury that defined his life. Yet, as the city thrived beneath his feet, an indescribable void settled within him, one that money and success could not fill. Days blurred into years, each marked with missed family gatherings and hollow boardroom victories that brought him no closer to genuine happiness. One crisp autumn afternoon, Jack found himself wandering through a nearby park, a rare escape from his corporate ballet. The laughter of children echoed around him, vibrant and alive, a stark contrast to his sterile, profit-driven existence. As he watched families gather, he felt a flicker of longing, an ache for something more, something that connected him to people beyond his wealth. Then she appeared. Maria, a single mother with worn shoes and a fire in her eyes, approached him with an urgency that cut through the park's joyful noise. "Excuse me, sir," she called, her voice steady yet tinged with desperation. Jack's initial instinct was to brush her off, a fleeting thought of her being just another interruption on his busy schedule. However, something in her gaze stopped him. "Please, our community center is about to close. It's the only place some of these kids have to go after school. We need your help." Her words poured out, rich with passion and intent. Each syllable painted a picture of families bound together, children finding safety within walls that had cradled their dreams and struggles. Jack listened, but his heart bore the weight of indifference. After all, wasn't it easier to stay in his cozy bubble? "Here, I can donate," he started, but before he could finish, Maria shook her head fiercely. "This isn't about money. It's about connection. You don't understand what we need." The bluntness of her rejection hit him like a slap. For the first time, he felt his privilege scrutinized. Was this really all he could offer? Merely throwing cash at a problem while ignoring its roots? The discomfort twisted in him, tightening around his chest with every moment he spent in her presence. Suddenly, the idea of being the untouchable billionaire didn't seem so glamorous. As weeks passed, Jack found himself drawn back to the park, compelled to learn more about the community he once overlooked. He became an observer, sitting on benches and watching Maria juggle her two spirited children while working odd jobs. She was a whirlwind of determination, the embodiment of resilience. Each story of hardship, laughter, and hope he heard from mothers and fathers at the community center spun a web around his heart, clutching and squeezing as the reality of their lives seeped into his. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Finally, Jack stood at a crossroads. Would he retreat back to his ivory tower, or venture into a world that demanded genuine partnership? The answer lingered on the tip of his lips. The weight of his decision pressed heavily on him, and as he took a deep breath, he felt the stirrings of resolve. Could he, a man who had chased after wealth, step outside his insulated existence and become a beacon of hope for a community he hardly knew? As he prepared to take that leap, the air crackled with possibility, leaving a lingering question. Would Jack rise to the occasion and forge a connection that could transform not just his legacy, but the dreams of an entire community? The next morning, Jack woke to the sound of distant laughter filtering through his open window. The sun poured in, warm and inviting, but it failed to chase away the lingering questions from the day before. He slid out of bed, his mind replaying Maria's words. It was as if they clung to him, pulling at something deep inside, some lost part that yearned to connect with lives beyond his own. After a quick breakfast, he dressed in a casual outfit, a stark contrast to the tailored suits he wore to board meetings. Today felt different. Today he was stepping into a world that demanded more than just his name or his wallet. Arriving at the community center later that morning, he was struck by the warmth of the place. The air thrummed with conversation, kids running in and out, their energy infectious. Walls adorned with bright murals provided a backdrop to laughter and playful shouts, a stark reminder of what belonging felt like. Maria was there, her smile a beacon as she organized art supplies for the children. She had her back turned to him, and as Jack approached, the instinct to retreat returned. What if she turned him away again? Jack, you're here. Maria turned, her surprise quickly morphing into a warmth that sent butterflies dancing in his stomach. I didn't think I'd see you again. I wanted to learn more, he replied, trying to maintain a steadiness in his voice. About the center what you do here. Her eyebrows rose slightly, skepticism flickering through her gaze, but quickly replaced by curiosity. Okay, let us get you involved then. As the day unfolded, Jack found himself immersed in the rhythm of the community. He watched as Maria guided children through art projects, her patience unwavering. With every laugh, every tiny triumph, he felt the invisible walls around his heart begin to crack. Can I help with anything? He finally asked, the question tumbling out with more eagerness than he intended. She paused, her expression shifting to one of contemplation. Sure. The kids are preparing for a small art show. We could use extra hands. Jack rolled up his sleeves. It was messy work, paint splattering and paper flying, but joy bubbled within him as he watched the kids express themselves freely. They talked, shared stories, and for the first time in years, he felt alive. In the middle of it all, a little girl approached him, her paintbrush clutched tightly in her small fist. Are you a prince, mister? She asked, eyes wide with wonder. Jack chuckled, bemused. No, just Jack. But you could be. You're helping us, she declared, beaming. Her conviction was sweet, and he felt the edges of his soul softened. At the end of the day, tired but invigorated, Jack stole a glance at Maria. She was helping a boy with his framed artwork, her laughter brightening the atmosphere. He imagined a life where he could be part of this, not just an outsider. Thank you for letting me be a part of today, he said to her later, when the last of the children had left. Her expression shifted as if she sensed the gravity of his words. Just showing up isn't enough, Jack, she replied, her voice submerged in sincerity. You have to really be here, heart and soul. Her words clung to him. Would he be brave enough to dive in fully? Was he capable of truly connecting, past the surface of his wealth? As he left the center, the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the horizon. The day had sparked something within him, a fire urging him onward. The question lingered in his mind, a beacon illuminating the path ahead. Could he do more than just show up? With that thought echoing in his mind, he knew that this was only the beginning of his journey. Little did he know, events were unfolding that would challenge his resolve like never before, testing the very foundations of who he believed himself to be. Would he rise to it? Jack returned to the community center the following day, heart pounding with anticipation. Each step towards the colorful entrance felt monumental, like he was approaching an uncharted territory. Yesterday had unearthed a part of himself he thought was buried under years of corporate monotony. He wasn't just Jack anymore. He was becoming something more. As he walked inside, the familiar sounds of laughter and chatter embraced him. Kids were draping paintings across the walls, their eyes bright with excitement. He scanned the room for Maria, hoping to find her in the midst of the chaos. And there she was, knee-deep in glitter and glue, assisting a boy with a masterpiece that looked like a riot of colors. She looked up and their eyes met, and he swore his heart skipped a beat. Jack, I'm glad you came back, she exclaimed, wiping her hands on her apron. The kindness in her voice made him feel welcomed, a sentiment he hadn't felt in a long time. I want to help. Whatever you need, he replied, his voice steadier than he expected. Maria smiled and handed him a stack of papers. Great. Let us set up these tables for the art show next week. I could use someone to move the heavy stuff. He nodded, eager to contribute. For the next hour, they arranged tables and chairs, the air buzzing with camaraderie. Jack began to feel the connective threads weaving around him, threads of purpose, of kindness, of a community coming together. They worked side by side, and he found comfort in the rhythm of their collaboration. Why did you decide to come back? Maria asked, glancing at him from the corner of her eye as they lifted a particularly heavy table. He hesitated, weighing the weight of his truth. I guess I wanted to feel something different, he admitted, a little surprised by his own honesty. Something real. She paused, studying him, her expression softening. It's easy to lose that in the world we live in. Her words hung in the air, heavy with shared understanding. Jack felt a stirring within him, a gnawing need to dive deeper, to shred the mask he wore. Could this woman understand the disconnect he felt? Behind his wealth and status, he craved authenticity, true connections. That a ping broke through the atmosphere, a message on his phone. As he glanced down, a frown tugged at his lips. It was a reminder from work about an important meeting scheduled for the following day. The old familiar anxiety surged through him. Would the chaos of corporate demands pull him away from this life he was beginning to cherish? Maria noticed the change in his demeanor. Everything okay? Just some work stuff. He waved it off, though inside he felt a turmoil rising. The rigidity of his life was still there, threatening to fray the connection he felt at the community center. But you're here now, she said softly. Just enjoy it. He felt a quiver of hope in her words. Perhaps he could carve out moments of joy amidst the clutches of responsibility. As they finished setting up, a little boy ran over, beaming brightly. Mr. Jack, can you help me paint my son? It's going to be the brightest one ever. Jack knelt down, mirroring the boy's enthusiasm. Absolutely. With each stroke of the brush, laughter echoed around him, and the weight of his corporate life began to dissolve in the face of innocence and joy. But just as he got lost in the simplicity of the moment, the call of duty crept back in. He couldn't shake the thought of his looming meeting. With a heavy heart, he glanced at Maria, whose brow furrowed with concern. Is everything really all right? She asked gently. He took a deep breath, feeling the pull of two worlds. Which one would he choose? Would he step back into the life that felt so hollow, or was he ready to embrace this new beginning, wherever it might lead him? And in that moment, he had to decide: would he instinctively retreat into the familiar, or would he risk it all for something he couldn't quite grasp yet? The buzz of excitement filled the room, but Jack felt a weight pressing down on him. The laughter, the vibrant colors, and even the innocent chatter faded into the background as his mind spiraled back to the looming meeting. Images of reports, projections, and numbers danced in his head, pulling him under like a tidal wave. Would he really trade this newfound connection for that? Hey! A tiny voice pierced through his distraction. It was the boy with the sun painting, his wide eyes pleading for Jack's attention again. Can you help with my clouds? They need to be fluffy like marshmallows. Jack looked into the boy's face and felt the tension loosen, if only for a moment. Of course. He smiled, kneeling beside the boy again, grabbing a brush. As he dabbed the paint, he listened to the boy chatter about how his son would make everyone happy. The simple joy of creation wrapped around Jack like a warm embrace. Maria joined them, kneeling on the other side. Your clouds are perfect. Can you make my clouds too? She teased, her laughter spilling like sunshine. Jack's heart fluttered at her presence. She drew out a side of him he barely recognized, a sense of play, a willingness to embrace the moment. The weights of expectations and corporate life seemed to slip away just a little more. Let us make the biggest, fluffiest clouds ever, Jack declared, feeling wrapped up in the warmth of their shared fun. Just then, a sharp chime from his phone shattered the tranquility like a bolt of lightning. He glanced at the screen again, and his heart sank. A notification from work flashed before his eyes, screaming for attention amid the joyful noises. What's up? Maria asked, noticing his frown deepen. It's just. Jack trailed off. His words tumbled in his mind. How could he explain the pressure, the expectations? Another meeting tomorrow. They want me there to wrap everything up. He sighed deeply, trying to mask the rush of turmoil surging inside. Maria offered a reassuring smile. You know this is your time too, right? You don't have to choose just one thing. But there's so much at stake. He replied, feeling the urge to explain but unable to form the words. The battle inside him was raging, the fear of leaving behind the corporate world that had brought him so much, yet also so little. Just remember, she touched his arm lightly. Choosing happiness isn't a sacrifice. The sincerity in her gaze softened the walls he built. It felt like an invitation to take a leap. Jack's breath hitched. Could he really pursue something more genuine, something that brought him joy, or was he merely running away from the responsibilities that waited with open arms? With a deep breath, he dipped his brush into the white paint, letting it swirl into the bright yellow and blue. What if I joined you for the art show? The words spilled out before he could hold them back. Maria looked genuinely surprised, her eyes widening. You'd come? You'd showcase your, talent? Yes. The excitement bubbled up within him, surprising even himself. Yay! The boy shouted, clapping his paint-smeared hands. You're gonna be the best artist ever. Jack laughed, the sound breaking free, unfiltered and true. Perhaps this was the push he needed to intertwine both worlds. But just as he settled into this newfound resolve, the message of impending responsibilities loomed like a dark cloud overhead. Would he really be able to balance these choices? Could he have both purpose and success, or was he destined to choose one? And deep down, Jack knew that the answer to those questions would come with deeper risks he was now willing to explore. What would it feel like to step fully into this new world, to embrace both sides of who he was becoming? In that moment of swelling emotion, Jack wondered if stepping into the light meant he would have to face the shadows lurking behind. Would embracing this new path, led by passion and authenticity, lead him to define himself beyond his titles? Jack spent the rest of the art session trying to suppress the butterflies in his stomach. The vibrant colors splashed before him felt like a promise of something more. Each stroke on the canvas carried a new hope, a new intention. As he painted alongside the boy and Maria, laughter bubbled up inside him, but the warmth lingered, leaving a slight tremor in its wake. Can I make mine a rainbow? The boy asked, peering wide-eyed at Jack. Absolutely. Rainbows are beautiful, Jack replied, feeling his heart lighten. The boy's enthusiasm was infectious, igniting a spark he and T felt in ages. Maybe this was part of the balance Maria spoke of. Every brushstroke fueled his decision. But as the sun began to dip lower in the sky, painting the room in golden hues, a creeping sense of reality returned. Tomorrow's meeting hung over him like an invisible weight. The laughter around him suddenly felt distant. This is my last art lesson, the boy said, brows furrowing as he looked at Jack. Will you still come to see my rainbow? Of course. I'll be there, I promise. Jack responded quickly. He couldn't let the kid down. Maria smiled, but her gaze held weight. Just remember, you can always paint your future the way you want. Jack bit his lip, focused on the beauty of the moment, but uncertainty grew like a vine in his mind. Leaving the office had never felt like a genuine choice until now. The digital world had constructed a chain of duties around him, but here, surrounded by paint and laughter, he felt free. After the session wrapped, the trio tidied up the room. Maria's casual grace as she organized the brushes reminded him of how effortless she made art seem, and how effortlessly she breathed life into the mundane. Jack, Maria called, letting her hands rest on her hips. Are we really doing this? The art show? Yeah, I want to. I'm excited. His voice was charged with eagerness, counterbalancing the knot in his gut. Good. She clapped her hands lightly, and her eyes sparkled. Let us plan something super fun. It'll be the perfect mix of our worlds. As they spoke, the boy squealed. And I'll be the best artist at the show too. The sincerity of their excitement filled him with warmth, but beneath it, doubt prickled. As darkness draped over the horizon outside, reminders of deadlines and expectations haunted him. What if this was just a fleeting moment of inspiration? What if tomorrow at the office tore all of this away? Hey, Maria seemed to sense his silence. Don't let the fear take you. Just paint from your heart. He felt the weight of her words drop into the deepest corners of his heart. Paint from my heart, it echoed like a whisper, beckoning him to push through those shadows. But reality rushed back as his phone buzzed relentlessly, notifications flooding in about the meeting. They felt urgent and demanding, a far cry from the warmth of the paint and laughter around him. Maybe I should, he started, but stopped as Maria stepped closer, locking eyes with him. No, don't think about it yet. Just enjoy tonight, she urged, her voice smooth and calming. Jack fought to suppress his internal battle. What if he could really find a way to balance this newfound passion with the life he had built? What if the art show actually represented a chance to transition? He left the art room that night feeling both light and heavy, a duality he and T anticipated. The evening air was crisp as he stepped outside. Each breath revealed a growing resolve, a flicker of hope amid the chaos. But there was still the meeting to face. What would come of it? He stepped forward into the night, 1,000 possibilities swirling in his thoughts. Would he have the courage to reshape his destiny? And then the flicker in his chest ignited, a glimmer of excitement wrestling with that dreaded uncertainty. Jack saw a fork in the road. One path led to what was expected, the other to the unknown. As he stared into the night sky filled with stars, he realized this was just the beginning. But could he truly step into the unknown and let his heart lead him? The next morning, Jack awoke with the sun shining through his window. It cast rays of gold across his room, warming him from the inside out. Today was the meeting. As he rubbed the sleep from his eyes, the memories of last night's art session flooded back. The laughter, the boy's joyful declaration about his rainbow, and Maria's encouraging words replayed in his mind. Like a soothing melody, he dressed quickly, tension coiling in his stomach like a spring. The familiar gray suit felt constricting, a reminder of the life he was expected to lead. He caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror, hollow eyes, a forced smile. There was a stark contrast between the man in the suit and the man who painted with colors and joy. The drive to the office was filled with intermittent traffic, each red light becoming a countdown to the inevitable. With every stop, doubt fluttered in his stomach. A voice in his head murmured, "What if they expect you to not care about anything but profits?" But another voice, the softer one, urged him to picture the art show, the happiness writ large on the boy's face. He gripped the steering wheel tighter, willing the tension to ease. As he stepped into the polished glass building, the atmosphere felt heavy with anticipation. Workers hurried past with relentless focus, each person a cog in the intricate machine. Jack walked toward his office, the echoes of colleagues greeting each other stingingly familiar. It was all a part of the routine, a routine that felt more like a trap every day. The conference room loomed ahead, and he could already see the board members seated, reviewing their notes in painstaking detail. Jack pushed the door open, and with it, he stepped into a cold, calculating world of business. But the moment his foot crossed the threshold, he felt a warmth flicker inside him, a tiny spark defying the chill in the air. He could almost hear the boy's laughter blending with the boardroom chatter, and Maria's words floated back to him. "Just paint from your heart." "Jack, come take a seat," his boss called. Jack moved to the head of the table, heart racing. The presentation flickered on the screen, and with each slide, he felt more detached. Discussions about profit margins and market shares made his pulse quicken for all the wrong reasons. Suddenly, his mind flashed back to the art room, to the simple joy of creation. It was a stark reminder of what truly mattered. As numbers and figures blurred, something shifted inside him, a quiet determination rising to the surface of his thoughts. "I think we should take a different approach," Jack heard himself say, to his own disbelief. All eyes turned to him, eyebrows raised in surprise. "Instead of chasing bigger profits, why don't we invest in our community? Support local artists and sponsor events that truly resonate with people?" A silence fell over the room. He could see glimpses of incredulity and intrigue. The meeting shifted into a blur as Jack laid out his vision, his heart racing with every word. Each point he made felt like paint splashing on a canvas, bright, vibrant, and alive. He spoke from a place he hadn't tapped into in years. As he finished, a new charge filled the air. His colleagues shifted, whispers started, but among the murmurs, he caught a glimpse of excitement, a flicker of interest. "Interesting idea, Jack," his boss said finally. "Let us explore it further." Relief washed over him, but as he exited the meeting room, part of him felt suspended in disbelief. Could this be how change began? Could a single voice really steer the ship? The day continued on, but his mind was elsewhere. Thoughts of rainbows, art shows, and the boy's beaming smile colored his notions of success. He found himself staring at his phone, eager to reach out to Maria. Maybe it was time to explore that other path, the one toward creation and passion. As he punched in her number, he felt a quiver of hope. What if she was available to talk about the show? Would she help him understand how to keep painting his future? The line connected, and before she spoke, Jack could barely speak. Past the emotions welling up inside him. "Maria, I want to create something that matters," he nearly whispered, summoning the courage from deep within his heart. But before she could respond, a new thought crossed his mind, one that could change everything. What if this endeavor meant opening doors to other possibilities to her? The anticipation surged within him as he waited for her answer, and with it, the realization leaked in that stepping into the unknown might bring more than he had ever hoped. Jack held his breath, the the phone pressed to his ear. Each second felt like an eternity, and his heart raced with uncertainty. Would Maria understand? Would she see the vision he sensed blooming inside him? Jack. Her voice came, soft yet strong. It brought back memories of laughter and warmth, of a shared passion for art that felt like a lifeline. What's this about creating something that matters? The warmth spread through him, pushing away the remnants of doubt. It's about supporting artists, giving back to the community. I want to host an art show, focus on local talent, give them a platform. I think it could inspire others, like that boy in the art room. There was a pause. The anticipation was thick in the air, wrapping around him like an embrace. That sounds incredible, Jack. But you know this isn't just about art, right? Maria continued, her voice full of emotion. It's about connection, about being vulnerable enough to reach out and say, I care. He could feel the weight of her words hit him, each one resonating with a truth he had been too afraid to face. I know, and I'd like your help guidance, even. Maybe we could work together to organize it? Her laughter danced through the line, brightening the heaviness that had settled on his shoulders. I'd love to. But remember, this is a journey. Are you ready for what it might take? Jack's heart swelled. For the first time in ages, he felt alive, the possibilities expanding like a canvas waiting to be painted. I believe so. I want to try. I want to commit to this not just for myself, but for everyone who feels unheard. Then let us do it, she said, excitement blazing on her end. Let us make something beautiful together. As he hung up, Jack felt a rush of emotion. Not just relief, but a sense of purpose rekindled. Yet, as exhilarating as it felt, doubt still lurked at the edges of his thoughts. Building this show meant facing the risks of failure, perhaps unearthing parts of himself he had buried deep. Later that evening, Jack sat at his desk, a blank page before him. He jotted down ideas, sketches, and names of potential artists who could light up the space with their talent. Each scribble felt electric, fueling the fire within. There was a thrill to it that he hadn't felt in years, the notion that he was shaping something new, something meaningful. But then, as he stared at the wall lined with his past achievements, he couldn't shake the fear that taunted him. What if this went wrong? What if he failed to reach the people who needed the art? His phone buzzed, tearing him from the spiral of what-ifs. It was Maria. Hey, just wanted to talk about some details for the show. Let us meet tomorrow? His heart raced again, not with anxiety this time, but with eagerness. Absolutely, he replied, thoughts darting around the impact of their collaboration. Would it deepen their bond? Could something more blossom between them amidst the splashes of color and creativity? As the night wore on, his mind buzzed with possibilities and wishes. New fears arose, brandishing ugly faces: fear of rejection, fear of being vulnerable. But another feeling fought through that darkness: hope. Hope that this could lead to something bigger than both of them. With dawn approaching, Jack peered out the window at the slate-blue sky, threading hints of gold. This was at the beginning of a new chapter. But in the depths of his thoughts, a lingering question remained. Did he have the courage to embrace this journey fully, whatever it might bring? Especially when it came to Maria, tomorrow loomed large, promising both challenges and rewards, as his heart quickened with anticipation. Would they discover more than art together? And would he dare to step deeper into the unknown? Jack woke up to the sun filtering through the cracks in his curtains, painting warm stripes across his room. He felt a thrill running through him as he recalled the plan Maria and he had made. His heart beat with a new rhythm, excited yet anxious, like the moment before revealing a masterpiece. He made himself coffee, that familiar scent mixing with the warm sunlight, nudging away the remnants of sleep. Today would be different. Today, he would carve out a path that had felt just out of reach. He pulled on a halfway decent shirt, one that he'd saved for meetings that mattered. He practiced his smile in the bathroom mirror, willing confidence to flow into him. As he drove to their meeting spot, a small coffee shop near the gallery, he thought about the artists he wanted to invite. Their stories bounced around in his mind, stories that had the power to touch lives. His own story had been stagnant for too long. Arriving at the cafe, the familiar bell chimed as he entered. Maria was already there, animatedly discussing something with the barista. The sight of her sent a rush of happiness through him. She looked up, a genuine smile blossoming on her face that made his stomach flip. Whatever worries he had vanished at that moment. "Jack, I'm so glad you made it." She beamed, her enthusiasm contagious. They hugged, the brief encounter sending sparks of warmth along his skin. "Are you ready to dive in?" she asked, her eyes sparkling, but he nodded, knowing he was ready to take these tentative steps. After ordering their drinks, they settled at a corner table. Jack could feel a swell of anticipation in his chest, the kind that felt almost tangible. "So what's our first move?" Maria asked, leaning forward, her hands clasped together, ready and willing to make this a reality. Jack opened his notebook, filled with scribbles and ideas that felt alive. "I thought we could start with potential artists. I have a list of names I want to reach out to, but I do love your input. Do you know anyone who might fit?" She tapped her finger thoughtfully against her chin. "I've got a few people in mind. We need diverse voices, different backgrounds, something that really represents our community." Their dialogue flowed easily, laughter punctuating their brainstorm like brush strokes adding color to a canvas. Ideas blossomed. They discussed holding workshops, inviting local musicians to perform during the show, even potential venues. The more they talked, the more the dream began to take shape before his eyes. But amidst the excitement, doubt crept back in, whispering questions that demanded answers. Would he be enough to support these artists and keep the momentum going? "Jack," Maria's voice pulled him from his tangled thoughts. "What is going on in that head of yours?" He took a deep breath, finding the courage to share. "What if it's not enough? What if I cannot deliver what I envision?" His vulnerability hung between them, fragile yet real. Maria's gaze settled on him, calm and clear. "It's a risk, yes. But remember, it's not about perfection. It's about connection. The community you want to touch will feel your passion. It's important to share your journey too." Her confidence wrapped around him, bolstering his own. "You're right," he said slowly, hope stirring again within him. "We'll figure this out together." As they moved on to logistics, exchanging ideas for the layout and promotion, the time slipped away unnoticed. Jack found himself laughing at her witty remarks, feeling an almost electric spark between them, a connection deepening with each shared thought. Yet, as their meeting came to an end, an unexpected wave washed over him. Fear mixed with the thrill of possibility. Would this new connection lead to more? Should he risk opening his heart further, knowing how long it had been wrapped in layers of caution? When they finally stood to leave, Maria reached for his hand for a quick squeeze, warm, reassuring. "Let us meet again in a few days to see how things are coming along. I can already see this turning into something great." Jack nodded, heart pounding, but not with fear this time. He could sense change, a shift looming, ready to break through the surface. As he walked out of the cafe, he felt the weight of possibilities settle on his shoulders. But as he glanced back at Maria, still smiling, his mind danced again with questions. Would this journey deepen their bond? And what would it mean for his heart? Should he let it open to her and the vibrant world they were starting to create together? Jack spent the following days in a whirlwind of thoughts. Work felt like a fog, a soft murmur in the background of his mind as he replayed fragments of his meeting with Maria. The late nights spent piecing together the dream began to blend seamlessly with his waking hours. They were conversations filled with laughter, creativity, and a growing connection that wrapped around him like a warm blanket. He started compiling a list of artists, their names scribbled in his notebook, each one a flicker of inspiration. But amidst all the excitement, the looming questions stirred unease. What if he failed to deliver? What if this dream never took flight? One evening, determined to confront his doubts, he found himself on a quiet walk along the riverfront. The soft ripples of the water sparkled under the moonlight, reflecting his inner turmoil. As he strolled, he allowed himself to fantasize about the exhibition, picturing the artists displaying their work with pride, the laughter of the crowd, and the applause that echoed like a heartbeat through the night. Yet deep inside, the fear lingered. Would he ever be truly enough? The question felt heavy. He leaned on the railing, breathing in the calm air, letting the gentle sounds of the water soothe him. Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket, pulling him from his thoughts. It was a message from Maria. "How about we meet tomorrow? I have an exciting idea." His heart raced at the thought of seeing her again. The nervous flutter in his stomach reminded him of all the possibilities that lay ahead. He quickly replied, agreeing and suggesting a park where they could talk about their plans. The next afternoon, sitting on a bench surrounded by blooming cherry blossoms, Jack felt his anxiety begin to ease. Maria appeared moments later, radiant in the sunlight, her face spilling with enthusiasm. "Jack, I've been thinking," she said, breathless with excitement. "What if we create a collaborative piece for the exhibition? Something that showcases all the artists' work together. A giant mural representing unity." The thought took hold like wildfire, igniting something deep inside him. "That's brilliant. It'll show that we're stronger together," he replied, a smile breaking across his face as they dove into the logistics, brainstorming ways to bring their vision to life. Jack caught himself stealing glances at Maria. Her passion was palpable, an energy that filled the air between them. There was something undeniably captivating about her, a spark that ignited the embers of his hopeful heart. "Hey, what do you think about reaching out to local schools? We could involve the kids too and let them add their touches," she suggested, her eyes widening with the prospect. The idea resonated with him. "Yes, involving the community will create even more connection. It could be the start of something amazing." Their excitement merged, fueling each other's ideas. They laughed and planned late into the afternoon, the weight of doubt gradually lifting under the heat of growing hope as the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm glow around them. Jack sensed something shifting within him. It was as if the layers he wrapped around his heart were being peeled away. The connection with Maria felt deeper than mere partnership. It was like they were weaving together their lives, thread by thread. But then, as the day wound down and thoughts of tomorrow surfaced, a small voice inside whispered caution. Did he dare to trust this bond? Did he dare to let himself fall? As they wrapped up, Jack hesitated. "Maria, about our goals, if we succeed, what is next for us?" Her laughter bubbled up like sunlight after a storm. "We just keep dreaming bigger, Jack. We create as many bridges as we can." His heart raced again, exhilaration laced with fear. Would he be brave enough to take her words to heart? Would they build those bridges together or merely dream a little further apart? In that moment, he realized it was not only about the exhibition anymore. It was about him daring to truly live again, a possibility brighter than he ever imagined. As they stood to leave, their fingers brushed the spark, tingling once more. And as they turned to go, his heart thudded with anticipation, carrying the weight of yet another question. What if this journey opened doors to something entirely unexpected between them? The vibrant colors of the mural danced across the large canvas, each stroke a testament to the care and creativity that had gone into it. Jack stood back, eyes wide with amazement. He couldn't believe how something that started as a dream just a few weeks ago had turned into a full-blown community event. Families gathered around, kids giggling and high-fiving, as the bright hues of the mural began telling the story of their shared experiences. Maria expertly organized the children, encouraging them to add their own touches, their laughter floating up beneath the warm sun. In this moment, Jack felt every bit of the heart he had poured into this project reflecting back at him. He watched as a little girl, her hands smeared with paint, leaned in to add a bright sun to the corner. "It's the happiest sun ever," she giggled, her eyes sparkling with pride. "Just like you," Jack replied, his heart swelling. He had never felt so full, so connected. This wasn't just about art. It was a project built on love, hope, and a community coming together. He turned to Maria, who was painting nearby, her hair catching the sunlight. She was so alive in her element, explaining each step with enthusiasm. It wasn't just her talent that inspired him. It was the way she connected with everyone, making them feel valued. "Jack," Maria called, breaking through his reverie. "Come help. The kids are starting to create their own stories with colors." He jumped in, easily mingling with children and parents alike. Every brush stroke became a memory woven into the canvas, a promise of what was to come. As time slipped away, Jack and Maria fell into easy laughter. Their chemistry buzzed beneath the surface, an electric connection that transcended the mural. At the end of the day, exhaustion mixed with euphoria shimmered in the air. Jack stepped back, taking in the sight of the mural. It was a tapestry of dreams, each splash of paint a note in the symphony of their shared journey. He turned to Maria, their gazes locking, and he knew then he needed to address the unspoken energy that lingered between them. "Hey, about all of this," he started, heart pounding. The moment felt heavy with potential. He needed to be brave. "I want to thank you for believing in me, for pushing me to create something beyond myself. But I also want you to know This connection we've built it feels different. Maria's expression softened, her eyes shimmering with understanding. I get it, Jack. It feels different to me too. The air around them shifted. There was a weight to the words that hung gently, like the promise of a new beginning. Jack stepped closer, the instinct to reach for her hand whispering inside him. I want to explore this more. Not just the art, but us. Together. Her smile brightened, a warmth radiating from her. I do like that. It's scary, but exciting too. Jack knew that fear could either tether him to the past or push him to embrace something brilliant. That evening, as they stood before the mural, their fingers brushing against each other lightly, it solidified the bond they had forged. Underneath the vast sky, aglow from the setting sun, he leaned in and softly whispered, "Let us continue to paint our story together." And as they locked eyes, Jack felt the last of his hesitations dissolve. The art show was a resounding success. People swarmed to embrace the joy radiating from the mural, an emblem of hope and unity. The community lifted one another, a chorus of laughter echoing through the park, a sound Jack knew would linger in his heart forever. Yet amidst the celebration, he kept an eye on Maria, always sensing her presence, her laughter like a melody interwoven with the joy around them. They weren't just creating art, they were creating a life together. Through the tears of laughter and the vibrant hues of their mural, they had painted something much deeper, a connection that defied societal expectations, a partnership grounded in genuine love and purpose. Together, they had begun to rewrite the fabric of their lives, leaving a legacy far richer than they ever imagined. As festivities wound down, and the final remnants of daylight faded to twilight, Jack took Maria's hand firmly in his heart fixed on the horizon of their shared future. "This is only the beginning, I assent it?" he asked softly. "Absolutely," she replied, beaming. The adventure ahead shimmered like the stars slowly revealing themselves above. Jack knew now, without a doubt, this was what it truly meant to live not just for oneself, but alongside those who inspired the deepest parts of your soul. So, don't wait a single moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will pull at your heartstrings. Leave a like now if you felt the emotions in this journey. Every click helps us spread these transformative tales. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't let this moment slip away. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need inspiration and transformation in their lives. You need to be part of this community. This is the moment to show your support. Let us keep spreading hope and connection together.